Hey Star Trek fans, Dan Gunther here. 25 years ago today, the final episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, All Good Things, aired. This was the end of the voyages of the Enterprise D on the small screen. She would get an appearance in a film following that, Star Trek Generations, and the crew would go on to make 3 more movies after that. However, it was the end of Star Trek The Next Generation, which was arguably one of the franchise's most successful endeavors. So it is surely no coincidence that today we got the first teaser trailer to the new Star Trek Picard series, which will be continuing the adventures of Jean-Luc Picard on the small screen. Now, I have links in the description below if you'd like to check out the trailer. I have the official CBS All Access version for American audiences, the Space Channel version for Canadian audiences, and hopefully an international one there as well. And here in this video, I'm going to be kind of picking apart the trailer and giving some of my thoughts on what we see in it. So let's get started. The trailer starts with a shot of a grapevine that Jean-Luc Picard, presumably, is working on. We know that Picard's family business is the Vineyards in Le Bar, France, where his family is from. It seems that Picard has retired there following his Starfleet career. A voiceover says, 15 years ago, today, you led us out of the darkness. So 15 years prior to the approximate time frame that they've given for the new series would sort of almost coincide with an event that they have mentioned has relevance in Picard's life, and that is the supernova that destroys Romulus, as talked about in the Kelvin timeline film Star Trek 2009. It would make sense that this is the event that they're talking about. Also, this presumes that it might be a Romulan who's giving the voiceover. We do know that there are some Romulan main characters in the cast of Picard. In Star Trek 2009, we learned of a supernova that was threatening some large part of the galaxy that Spock was able to stop before falling into the black hole that took him into the Kelvin timeline movies. But before he was able to do that, the supernova did in fact destroy Romulus. This would kind of track with the next line, which is, you commanded the greatest rescue armada in history. Now, presumably, Picard may have led some sort of large-scale evacuation effort to the Romulan homeworld or something like that. The fact that this shot also kind of centers on the sun, maybe a little bit of a hint that this has to do with the supernova mentioned in Star Trek 2009, but that might be a bit of a reach. The next line is, then the unimaginable. Now, presumably this will refer to the sort of backstory that informs Picard's choices going forward into this series, why he is where he is, what led him to it. So presumably some very tragic incident. Now, this might be the loss of the Enterprise, maybe the death of some close friends of his. This is all just speculation. I have no idea. But it's very clear that some traumatic incident led Picard to where he is now, which we will learn shortly is out of Starfleet. Next, we get these shots of these kind of mobile irrigation systems and a figure walking through the vineyard who presumably is Picard himself. And the voiceover says, what did that cost you? Your faith in us, your faith in yourself. Throughout this, there is this kind of mournful music being played, and I do have to say I love the music in this teaser as well. And this is all contributing to that mood, that feeling that there's some deep, dark, heavy stuff in Picard's past that has led him to where he is. The next shot is of a crate of wine, Chateau Picard. Now, the vintage on this wine is interesting. The vintage is 2386. Which may be another hint that we're dealing with the supernova that destroys Romulus, because this is the year right before the destruction of Romulus, which is 2387. So again, maybe a bit of a reach there, but you got to think that everything in this trailer was put there for a reason. So, you know, I like to think that there are little hints here that this might be what they're talking about. The voiceover during this shot is saying, tell us, why did you leave Starfleet, Admiral? Now, this indicates that Picard was eventually promoted from the rank of captain, kind of contrary to the advice that Jim Kirk gave him in Star Trek Generations when he told him, don't let them promote you, don't let them do anything that takes you off the bridge of that ship, because while you're there, you can make a difference. So Picard either made a different choice, or perhaps he was forced to take promotion by Starfleet. Not sure how he ended up being an admiral. It does kind of make sense that he would eventually be forced up the chain of command, but whatever happened while he was an admiral and caused him to leave Starfleet. Then we get a bit of a push-in shot that resolves the focus to show Picard's face, much older, of course, than he was before, and with this kind of world-weary look on his face, a very pained expression. So when we see Picard in the show, he's going to supposedly be in a bit of a dark place, having been jaded by some of the events that took place in the intervening years. So I'm really curious to see exactly what those events are. I'm really hoping that during the course of the show we get flashbacks to whatever event that is, and that seems very likely to me. It feels like they're setting that up, that we might get that story told through flashbacks and that sort of thing. And then finally, the part of the teaser that truly gave me some pretty cool chills. We get the title screen of Star Trek Picard, the same title that we saw in the leaked footage from the Upfronts presentation. But over top of that, we get a little taste of the TNG theme, but it sounds like it's being played on a flute, specifically, possibly, Picard's Resican flute, famous from the TNG episode The Inner Light. So I really love, they're paying close attention to some of those touchstones from TNG and bringing that idea to the fore in this trailer. Very, very cool. Adding that to the fact that this is the anniversary of All Good Things, the end of TNG, and we're returning to the Vineyard that we saw in All Good Things. I think the marketing folks really were kind of operating on all thrusters with this one, so good job, guys. This trailer has gotten me very excited for the series, but I want to hear from all of you. What did you think of the teaser? Has it gotten you excited for the show? It's very clear that it's going to be very different from any of the other Star Treks we've seen in the past, I think. Much more cerebral, maybe more psychological than other shows. Doesn't seem to be a lot of action, of course, in this trailer. That might change when we see the actual show, but it feels like it's a very different tone from Discovery and even some of the other Star Treks that came before that. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, of course, to the Patreon supporters for all of your help. I really, really do appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next video. And until next time, make it so.